HBCU family? It's Destiny Kerr, a senior public health major hailing from the Show Me State herself, currently in attendance at the illustrious Xavier University of Louisiana, the top 6 HBCU. Here today to kick off our series of interviews in partnership with the HBCU Experience to promote their latest book, The HBCU Experience, the North Carolina State University 5th edition. Now listen, this is an amazing book with some great notable alumni. From entrepreneurs to influencers, the sky is the limit. Y'all know the vibes. Hashtag Aggie Pride. Today we have an HBCU alumni who's been putting on for her HBCU community. Not only is she a former Aggie, but she is the CEO of Journey Counseling, working actively in her community to promote aware care. Today we have here Miss Keisha Watson. How we doing, Miss Watson?
Hello. How you doing, Destiny?
I'm good. We're going good on this lovely Thursday. Well, no, Wednesday.
Wednesday. We're not there yet on Thursday.
We're not there, but I'm counting down the days to Thursday. It's homecoming.
I hear you.
Yes, ma'am. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Keisha Watson. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. As you said, I am a two-time Aggie alum. So I started at A&T in 1998, my freshman year, and I graduated with my psychology degree in 2002 and my master's degree in 2005.
Okay. Yeah.
And as you said, I'm sorry, as you said, I am the founder of Bright Journey Counseling, private practice. So I provide telemental health to young adults and women. I have a passion of working with African American women and women of color, addressing anxiety, depression, unresolved trauma issues. So that's me.
Yeah. So what made you choose North Carolina A&T as your ultimate HBCU?
Oh man. So, I mean, really, I had some cousins that, also, entered college as well. They chose East Carolina University, but when it was really ultimately my decision, I decided to go a different route, right? Like I really wanted to be able to allow myself to make my own decision and not be influenced by family, but also kind of just get a general, sense of really what was out there for me. Um, I was exploring different universities when I was in middle school. And of course, HBCUs were always something that, was kind of buzzing around my community. And so I definitely wanted to look at that. A&T was definitely my top choice. Um, I remember when it came down to applications, I submitted my application to East Carolina University late on purpose because I knew that I wanted to go to A&T. So it was definitely, a no-brainer for me.
Okay. So walk us through your time on the yard, starting with your freshman year.
Oh man. So freshman year, like I said, 98. Um, at that point, everybody was kind of like feeling the vibes, right? Like a different world, really kind of getting that energy from, all of the, TV shows that we were watching at that point. My freshman year was just really amazing. Really I was able to really connect with, so many of my forever friends my freshman year, including my best friend who was my RA at the time, and several other like-minded women that were from different areas, but we all just like really vibed and really connected. Um, and I really just kind of took that and just, decided to, connect with other, organizations and clubs and things like that. I did, um, become initiated in spring 2000, the Phenomenal Sisterhood, Alpha Phi, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Yes. From then, I mean, I was Miss Barbie Hall. I was a RA my sophomore year as well. I did a couple of step shows. I was definitely active on campus, throughout, graduation as well in 2002. And it was a no-brainer for me to just kind of stay where I already had, some resources and supports in place when it came down to graduate school.
Okay. So you mentioned a lot about freshman year. So let's
Yes.
dive a little deeper into your sophomore year.
Okay. So sophomore year, I mean, really, I mean, I was already, like I said, RA,
Mm-hmm.
and that allowed me to really connect with some other, women in the dorms, facilitating different meetings and really being able to, kind of see what the need was in terms of our dorms, how we can make things better. I was also a part of different organizations, like I said, psychology club, as well as Goldsboro Aggie Club, which was where I'm from, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to really be able to do that allowed me to just kind of see where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of the sorority life, like I said, I was initiated in spring 2000.
Mm-hmm.
That was an amazing experience, to be able to, join a sisterhood, along with my line sisters, and be able to, join this amazing sorority. We did a lot of community service. We had an amazing time. Greek life was everything. So to be able to do that was just really amazing. So yeah, I had a good time.
Okay, okay. So tell us a little bit about your junior year, because junior year is the year when everything breaks loose. So how was your junior year?
I don't know about breaking loose junior year. I definitely had to kind of like buckle down and prioritize in terms of my academics. I knew that, senior year was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, with Greek life and other things that was going on, and I was also working part time, it was tough, right? So you had to kind of prioritize your academics as well as your social life. So really being able to kind of like buckle down on that. I kind of had a balance. I had a balance. So I was able to have fun, but I also buckled down when it came to my academics. And I had really, really good supports when it came to my friends. And we always kind of like checked each other when it came to that. Like we
Yeah.
always made sure we stayed on top of our academics, and that, we weren't slipping or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And then senior year and post grad, how did that go?
Senior year was amazing. I feel like it went by fast, right? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, that was the time where, you really had to kind of make a decision if you were going to go into graduate school or if you were going to go into the workforce. And for me, being as though I was a psychology major, I definitely knew that I wanted to go on to receive my master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
I did apply to Norfolk State for master's degree. However, they were a little bit slow in terms of getting back to me, and I already had a lot of supports in Greensboro. I consider Greensboro like my second home.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of familiarities in terms of like Goldsboro to Greensboro, so I always kind of said from borough to borough.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kind of felt like home to me. So being as though I had my supports there. My
Mm-hmm.
best friend and I, who was my RA my freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
we had moved off campus. And so, because I already had that in place, I already had my part time job. I wanted to make sure that I was making a good decision when it came to my master's degree. So I just decided to stay. And it was great to be able to do that and receive my master's degree 3 years later in human resources agency counseling.
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, I love it. I love it. So, how does it feel to now be a featured author in the HBCU Experience, the North Carolina A&T State 5th edition?
It's amazing. I will say that I was, contacted a few years, earlier, and it
Mm-hmm.
was during the pandemic, and I kind of felt like at that point there was a lot that was going on, right?
Yeah.
Like, the world had kind of paused. We were all pivoting, trying to navigate how life was really going to be and adjust to everything that was going on during, the pandemic.
Yeah.
When I was contacted, it kind of really made me do that self reflection, like, okay, am I really happy with where I am? And at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I was working at a group practice. It was a lot that was going on, and I kind of felt like there was more that I could do.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, at that point, kind of said, okay, well, if there's more that I know that I want to do, maybe I should just wait to tell my story. I definitely always knew that I wanted to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely felt like, okay, like, what do I need to do? What are some actionable steps in order to make this happen? And
Yeah.
so I remember talking to Ashley, and I said, Ashley, come back to me. Like, I'm not ready yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely want to be a part of it. So being able to do it now, I feel like timing is everything. Full circle moment. Um, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of 3, and my oldest son, who's 14, is actually a freshman in high school. And so because my freshman year was 1998, we're having those conversations about college and what he wants to do. And so to be able to, really be a part of it now, 25 years later, after my freshman year, it's really it's everything. It's a full circle moment for me.
Yeah. So you already told us a little bit about your chapter, that it's going to be a story. It's in there. So what can we expect? Any surprises?
I wouldn't say any surprises, but there's definitely some, special moments, I will say. Definitely, in my time, I feel like, I connected, like I said, with so many amazing Aggies, right? My forever friends, but then also, Greek life was definitely a vibe. So at that point, we were trying to figure out, like how we could, you know, have parties but be safe, and that was like the whole thing. So parties were word of mouth, like you literally had to know somebody in order to get in. If there was an apartment, like, at a party, like you had to kind of like know someone. We wanted to make sure that we had fun, but we were all like super close. So as far as like that was also great. But then to be able to, say, okay, well, if there was something that was going on that was out of town, outside of Greensboro, how can we make sure we do that? And we were like pretty much balling on a budget, like making sure that we had enough for rent. And if we were going to DC, Atlanta for the Classic, or if we were going down to Miami, that, we had plans. So there might be a little surprise in there towards the end, just in terms of like how that all turned out. So I made, like I said, some amazing connections, and to be able to be a part of that in the beginning, it was just super dope, because like now, like, they're doing major things when it comes to, the lifestyle, as far as HBCU alum, traveling, and just making it a huge experience. So I was definitely a part of it in the beginning, when we were just trying to figure out, like, okay, how are we gonna pay for gas and make sure we got some money for food. But yeah, it was definitely fun.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing your experience. I love to hear. I'm gonna have to take a trip to A&T, because y'all alumni, y'all from the Greek life to the friends to everything. I need to take a trip. That's what y'all telling me.
Listen. When we say G-Ho, we absolutely mean G-Ho. Greatest homecoming on earth, period. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, it's top tier. It's top tier. You're going to need a couple of days to like recoup and reset.
Yes, ma'am. So where can we find you out on socials?
Yeah, so Bright Journey Counseling, like I said, you can find me at Bright Journey Counseling, or www.brightjourneycounseling.com. I really just want to be able to say that my experience at A&T really was an amazing experience. Just to be able to meet some of the amazing people that I did, but to also be able to have, the supports, the professors that I did at that point, to be able to kind of guide me to where I am professionally. Like, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to be a Black woman who has her own private practice and is really doing something amazing, to be able to, help others through their own healing journey.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to be able to interview you. I definitely know I'll be connecting after this, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So y'all make sure to stay tuned. We have another interview coming up right after this. But thank you again. I will be reading a chapter. I don't know about y'all, but it's time for that full circle moment, baby. So again, thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, Destiny. Take care.
Yes,
like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU.
Give me a thumbs up. Okay. We're good. We're back, HBCU family. It's Destiny Kerr, and this evening we have another HBCU alumni who's been putting on for her HBCU community. Not only is she a former Aggie, but works and reports within her community for North Texas Report and is a traffic anchor. Today we have here Miss Alex Alex Wainwright. Let me get that correct. How we doing? How we feeling?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I think you kind of touched on it, but basically I am from the DMV area, PG County to be specific. I went to North Carolina A&T State University. I graduated from there 2016.
Okay.
And then I studied journalism. So I wanted to be on TV, and that soon became my reality after I graduated from North Carolina A&T and going to grad school. I got my master's. And now I am a reporter in Dallas, Texas for a local TV station out here. So as you mentioned, I cover news, I cover sports, and I also do traffic anchoring as well. So I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I'm able to give a voice to the community out here in Texas.
Of course. So what made you choose A&T?
Oh, that's a good question. So, okay, being from PG County, I feel like there are a lot of people that went to North Carolina A&T. I don't even think people realize that, but there is a huge amount of us that naturally go down to North Carolina for school. And I kept hearing about A&T this, A&T that, A&T this. I'm like, I don't know. I've been to North Carolina before, but I had only been to like Rocky Mount, which is where some of my family is from. It's a very small town. It's nothing going on there. So I was like, A&T is probably just like that. But then I went on an HBCU tour, and I was like, wowed. I went to a football game. I saw the Golden Delight. I saw the cheerleaders. The football team wasn't that good, but the band, oh my God, I was like, this is lit. And soon, once I realized that I wanted to do journalism, because I didn't start off that way, I was like, I'm gonna go to A&T. And I will say that is probably one of the best decisions I made in my life, is going to North Carolina A&T, because it really did set me up to be where I'm at today.
Yeah. So walk us through your time on the yard, starting with your freshman year.
Okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but I did not go to A&T my freshman year. I went to Delaware State. I was a nursing major. I went there on purpose for that.
Okay.
And then I realized, like, in a lab one day, I was like, this is not for me. I can't handle this in the classroom. I won't be able to handle this in the real world. So then I transferred to A&T in 2013. And when I got there, it was actually perfect because I talk about a lot of people from PG County going to A&T. So it was actually people I went to high school with that was already at A&T. And I'm like, dang, I know you. Like, let's kick it. Let's do this. Let's do that. So it was like automatic connections for me. Mm-hmm. And even from there, like, you know how like we are just on campus, like you just ask somebody something and then y'all end up talking. Y'all got something, you know, you got something related to each other and you like, all right, bet. So what you about to do? So it just quickly became that on campus. I lived on campus when I first got there. So it was just pretty easy for me to like make friends and meet people. Like, it's funny because some of my lifelong friends, they call them like the Charlotte crew because all of them is from Charlotte. But I so like easily fit in with them after we realized like we like the same things. We like going out. We like this and that. So yeah, I mean, once I just started hanging out outside of the caf, you know, Fried Chicken Friday, and then just the little parties that would happen on campus when we were like young students before we started going off campus. Those are the times where I made friends where it was like, okay, Lex, you about to do this, we're gonna go with you, you know, you stick together, this and that. And then it was just like, you know, it went on from there.
Yeah. So walk us through your sophomore year.
Okay, my sophomore year. So I was still a baby. I didn't know a lot. I lived in the villages actually, because I don't know why, but A&T put me in Cooper, and it's an all boys dorm, and I'm like, this don't make sense. Like, how y'all? That don't make sense. So I was able to finesse my way into the villages, and I lived there. So I was kind of by everything instead of a lot of other like underclassmen who were always on the other side of campus. So I always stuck with like the DMV people in the beginning. They even had like a little club, like where they had meetings, I think like once a month or something like that. And it was just easy because we all understood each other, like the slang, like the lingo, the accent. I don't really have one, but most of them do. So that was that. That's how I first started making friends. And then, like I said, I would like hang out in the cafe and all that. And then I would meet more people. And then as far as like classes, a lot of my other friends kind of came from that because it was journalism, and it was like we were doing the same things. So if you miss class, then it's like, yo, like what happened? Like what did I miss? Or like somebody will remind you, like we got a test next week, and I'm like, damn, we got a test already. So I realized like how much of a community it was. It was like everybody had each other's back, like just as students in the same classes, trying to find a way to finesse or get that extra credit and figure things out. So that kind of started early on as soon as I got to A&T. And then I think probably by the first semester being over, I think I got comfortable quick. Like that's when I realized like, oh, this is here, that's here. And then I just really like dived deeply into my focus, which was journalism. So I started writing for the A&T Register, kind of just getting my feet wet. I would do like different stories, entertainment. I would do sports a lot. And then I realized like sports is my thing. You know, y'all might as well like give me that editor position. Okay. And then I became like kind of a paid contributor to the A&T Register. And then by the spring semester is when I like discovered the A&T television station studio and realized they had shows and they needed reporters and this and that. So I'm like trying to figure out, okay, how can I work around all of this? Mind you, I also cheered at A&T. So I had a lot going on. So it was like straight off the jump, I was learning how to do like time management, because it was like, okay, I got weight training, I got cheerleading practice, I got the A&T Register, I got classes. So it was like me just learning, because listen to me, there were times where I was missing something or I was late to this and I was getting in trouble. But it was just like, it's, you know, it's a learning process. It's trial and error. So this is like my sophomore year. This is when I'm like getting the experience and learning like, okay, you can't be late for this. Or like you learn, you know, the saying, to be on time is to be early, to be on time is to be late, you know, different things like that. It kind of just taught me like business etiquette, how to handle situations and figure out what my priorities are now that I'm on campus and what I need to focus on and what I could let go of. So that's kind of how my sophomore year went. It was a lot of like moments where like I'm tired or I'm this or I'm that, but like as a student, you really don't get no sleep, because it's like you want to do what you got to do business wise, but also like you got to have fun. Like you're a student, you're only a student for 4 years. So it's like taking advantage, and like if somebody said, oh, it's a party on a Wednesday night, well, I'm going because I'm not going to miss out, you know, like it's just a thing. And even like my sophomore year, my first GHO, it was like tough because as a cheerleader, we were like doing like parades and getting up early for performances for his TV shows at like 5 a.m. And it was just like, I made it. By the grace of God, I made it. But it was just like, it was really tough. And those were the times where I didn't get like a lot of sleep, like during homecoming week or different like special weeks, finals week. But just having like my cheer sisters with me, and then also like knowing the bigger picture, like this is gonna help me get to where I need to be.
Yeah,
it was all worth it, literally.
Yeah. So with that sophomore year, it was busy. So like you was on it, you was moving and dipping and diving. So how was your junior year?
Oh man, it got busier. It's crazy because it was like sophomore year busy. It just got busier and busier. But I think I got smarter with like blocking out the unnecessary noise that I didn't need around me. So my junior year, I became the sports editor for the A&T Register, which was like a huge job. I knew the priority of it and I knew the responsibility, but then actually having it right there in front of you, I think really like made me like snap into it and like realize, okay, like I can't play. I got deadlines I got to meet. And there was even a time like where I had to have a conversation with my cheer coaches, like, look, we got to find a way where, you know, I could be late to this or I could do something and miss that. Cause like, it just wasn't working. And there was a moment where like I had to step away from cheerleading just for a little bit because I needed to figure everything else out. Because at the end of the day, like my counselor and then like the chairperson of the journalism department, Crosby Hall, like was reminding me like, you need all of this in order to like get that job out of college. And I think it sets in your junior year, but it doesn't really hit till your senior year. But you know, like, so it just, she was telling me this and I'm like, yeah, I hear you, but it didn't really sink in until I became a senior. But junior year was definitely busy, but I think that was one of the best years because you're still not attached to like what's next.
Yep.
You're just like in it and like, you know, the groove because you've been here, you know, campus, you know, the ins and outs, you have a car by now, you know, like, so I had all the things that I needed to just get around and still be comfortable in what I was doing and learning. So junior year was probably the best because I didn't have no worries. I had responsibilities and I was on them and it was busy. But like I said, like I be talking to students now all the time, especially in college. And I be like, enjoy your time. Like people be like, I can't wait to be a senior. I can't wait to graduate. And I'm like, don't rush it. It's ghetto. Adulthood is ghetto. For real, like I mean, don't get me wrong. I love what I do. I enjoy everything that I have right now and I'm blessed, but it's just like being a student and like at a really great school, like most of the historically Black colleges and universities are, it's like, you don't get those moments all the time once you get into the real like life and adult and all that stuff. So it's just like junior year was probably the littest. Like we were just carefree.
So we lit, we carefree. Senior year, we here. How was that? And then post grad?
Yeah, senior year was hard. Just because you're trying to get your life in order. And I think at that age you think you have to have your life in order. And to be honest, you're never going to have your life in order. You're supposed to go through different things to realize what's for you and what's not for you. And I think as a senior, you don't realize that. You're just trying to be perfect. You see social media, you see the class that just graduated is like already with jobs and got this and got that. So you're just thinking like, I need to be perfect. And my senior year was not perfect at all. I got things done like as far as like the newspaper, the TV show with the studio, which was great because the football team was good by this year. Junior year and senior year, they were good. So I got a lot of good like coverage. We went to the Celebration Bowl. It was just fun because I got to travel. And then I would even talk with my coaches like, look, like I'm a cheer, but I'm gonna put flowers on right after, and I'm gonna shoot this like quick clip. You know, I gotta get both. I gotta get both.
The content.
Listen, so I got everything done, but then it was just like, you know, trying to figure out what was next. It's funny because you know how like when you graduate, you have like your cap and you have like what's next. Crazy thing is I got accepted into Elon University for their master's program. So that was what was on my path. But little do I know, probably like a month after that in the summer, I got a phone call and I got accepted into Northwestern University in Chicago. They have like a great program. I honestly did not think I was going to get in. I don't know why I was beating myself up, but I got a call and it was just like, that was meant for me, because the things that I went through in grad school and then getting that extra experience where I freelanced as a reporter. I'm in a city I don't know with like people I don't know, and I'm forced to be uncomfortable. And it helped me become a better reporter, a better journalist, all this stuff. But like, it was crazy because I think I was so obsessed with like decorating my cap and having like the perfect plan that little did I know God's plan was greater and better. So I think senior year was kind of like slowly like realizing what's meant for me was going to be meant for me. It wasn't about trying to have an image of I got it together, I got a job, or I got this program next, and here I am. Now, also senior year was also about like, you know, you're a senior, so you gotta have fun, you know, like you gotta party.
Oh yeah.
Listen, you at every party, you are trying to have like the best G-Hell. But honestly, I realized even then, like homecoming is great as a student, but I really feel like I heard the saying like it's meant for alumni. And I think it really is, because as an alumni, when you come back, you can do any and everything. Nothing matters. There is no class, there is no work. But as a student, like you still got to balance everything, because there were still times as a senior, like where this class, like, you know, thank God I didn't have an 8 a.m. But like there were still classes that like I just was like, nah, I'm good not to show up. And I find out like it was easy. All you had to do was write your name down on a sheet, and that counted as like an A that day. And it's like, dang, like, so I think senior year was definitely crazy, and I thought I knew what I wanted, but when things started turning, it ended up working out perfectly for me. Because I didn't know what I was going to do. I did apply for jobs. I just didn't find what I wanted. I found other things. And it was crazy because I had opportunities at like some of the local stations in Greensboro, but I knew I wanted to be on air. They were offering me positions behind the scenes. And I had a good conversation with one of my teachers who had became like family at that point, because you know how, you know, them teachers that like be on you, but it's like out of tough love. It was one of those. So she kind of told me like, look, go for what you want, because I don't want you to go for a position just to have it, and then they look at you as that, and then you're stuck in that role. So then I decided to go to grad school. I got into that program that I studied in Chicago. And because of that, I got to like kind of get more comfortable on camera, because realistically, I got comfortable with sports, but then I wanted to try news. So I did that. That was a 1-year program. And then I got my first TV job in 2017. So it honestly, talking about it now, it's crazy how fast it all kind of just like blends together. But like in those moments, it was a lot. It was an adjustment. Like, you know, me being a journalism person, like graduating with a degree from that, I was told early on, like, look, the way this business works, you might not make a lot of money your first job. You might work holidays. You might live far from your family. So I was already mentally prepared for that, but then actually living that after graduation was like a whole different like beast. But I will say everything worked out in itself. I found friends. I found like my support system, because I still kept in touch with everybody from A&T. Literally, like one of my mentors is like an Aggie. He graduated 2011, I think. I think 2011. And like I'll call him to this day just crying and complaining like, oh my God, this happened today and I can't believe this. Like, you know, like just having that, I think still helps me stay strong and like do what I need to do. But like, especially in those early days, like when I tell you I went through it, I went through it. And I think people always think it's supposed to be perfect. But little did I know, like there are so many different things that go on behind the scenes. And it's making me stronger and better and wiser to get to the next step of my career. And it kind of helped me build up to where I'm at now in Dallas, because it's the top 5 market. I never thought I would be here. But going through those mistakes, you know, early on helped me build the character to be where I am today.
Yeah. Well, okay, process. Yeah, because so I'm a singer right now, so I already know I'll be bobbing and weaving. So, you know, we've done all that amazing things. So shout out to you, first of all, for getting through it and making it through and becoming in that market for sure, because we love some Dallas Fort Worth. So how does it feel now to be a featured author?
Oh my God, it doesn't feel real yet. You know, like when you're in that process and it's like, I did something. And then it's hard for me to keep secrets. Like I can keep other people's secrets, but like my secrets, I'm like, I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing. But like now, I mean, it feels good because it's something I've always wanted to do. Hopefully this will open a door for me to do more writing and maybe do another book. But it's just like, I've always wanted to do things, but now finding the time, now that I'm more mature and know how to manage everything, it feels great. It's nice. And if people that know me know, if it's one thing about me, I'm gonna talk about my HBCU, I'm gonna talk about A&T, I'm gonna talk about Aggie Pride. So this, I think, was the perfect like project for me to be a part of because one, I'm proud and passionate about it, but also two, interesting enough, Texas is very different from the East Coast in the sense of like, there are HBCUs here, but I'm meeting so many people that are new to that culture. Like one of my friends, he just went to Howard's homecoming last weekend for the first time. He literally called me and was like, I've never seen this many Black people in my life. Like, and he's Black. What? So it's just like, yeah, like I feel like this book is a great way to introduce people who aren't super familiar with HBCUs to like really get to know what it is. Because people be like, y'all are diehard or y'all talk mess about other schools, but it's like, little do you know, it's love. Like at the end of the day, you know, like it's just, we're passionate and proud of everything that comes from that school and everything that we've done, because it is blood, sweat, and tears, but also some fun with it. And it's like, you know, seeing other people succeed and be able to share that process to like encourage others, like this is where you need to be, I think is an awesome thing. Like, I mean, how often do you hear people say they're an author? Not often. So like for me to be able to be a part of that, I think is just like special and like emotional, because every time I'm at A&T, I'm like, dang, I really love this school. Like I'm that one friend that's gonna cry a little bit, you know, like, oh my God, I love y'all. I love this school. So yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling for sure. Like it's a proud moment. It feels like great, but it's gonna feel even better and real once I like hold the book or see the book, you know.
Yeah. So what can we expect from your chapter? Any surprises? Any moments?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. I think a lot of people will see more from me and of me in the new year. I'm very much a like social media person. Like you'll see me on my social media a lot. So like stay tuned to like my Instagram and everything, and you'll see like what I have. But I definitely have some more stuff coming up in the new year. I'm trying to like this, now that I'm a little older, you know, I'm trying to like enjoy the rest of this year. You know, we got the holidays coming up and stuff, homecoming next week. So it's like, I'm relaxing for a little bit before I start stepping into the next chapter for sure.
Of course. So you said you social media. So where can we reach you at on them socials?
Oh, yes. So, okay, Instagram, I think is the main one. My Instagram is my full name. So it's Alexis, Alexis. Wainwright, I need to change it because it's so long. WAINWRIGHT_TV. And then I'm on TikTok. It's at Dark Multiplex. And then, do people still use Twitter? I still use Twitter, aka X.
I do and I don't. It's funny because I have like 5,000 followers on Twitter, but I don't get on there no more.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it depends on what it is. Like, I'm a big sports person, so I follow a lot of that on there. But other than that, I don't know because, well, okay, I did see like some viral moments on there recently, like the girl from Cheesecake Factory. And, so, I mean, yeah, y'all can follow me on Twitter too. It's A Wainwright TV. So I'm pretty much, if you go to any of my social media, you'll see the other ones like connected to it. So.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know I'll be reading your chapter for sure. Make sure y'all check it out on Amazon. It will be dropping here really, really soon. And I'm grateful to have interviewed you today. And y'all stay tuned for more. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to HBCUPulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU